The sun had barely risen over my quiet stretch of land when I heard the all-too-familiar screech of tires coming to a halt outside my property. Sipping my morning coffee, I sighed, already knowing what was coming. Sure enough, a shrill voice followed. Excuse me, sir." I turned to see her, Karen, the self-proclaimed queen of the Homeowners Association, marching up my gravel driveway like she owned the place. She was dressed in her usual pastel pantsuit, clipboard clutched in one manicured hand, and an expression that suggested she'd smelled something offensive. "Good morning, Karen," I greeted, forcing a polite smile. "What can I do for you?" She ignored my pleasantries and pointed dramatically at my fence. "This eyesore has got to go." I glanced over at the structure in question, a sturdy 8-foot-high wooden fence reinforced with wire mesh. It wasn't fancy, sure, but it did the job. More importantly, it was the only thing standing between my property and the herd of wild boars that roamed the nearby woods. Anyone who had lived here long enough knew what those beasts were capable of. "That fence is necessary, Karen," I said, keeping my voice level. "It keeps dangerous animals out." She scoffed, flipping through her clipboard. "It violates HOA aesthetic standards. We maintain a certain asterisk-look asterisk in this neighborhood, and that monstrosity is bringing property values down." I pinched the bridge of my nose. "You do realize that without that fence, we'll have wild boars tearing up yards, destroying gardens, and—" "Enough with the excuses," she snapped, waving a hand dismissively. "You have asterisk 1 week to take it down and replace it with something acceptable." With that, she spun on her heel and strutted away, leaving me staring after her in frustration. I knew Karen was stubborn, but she had no idea what she was getting herself into. For the next few days, I tried to reason with Karen. I showed her photos of what wild boars had done to nearby properties before I'd built the fence. Lawns uprooted, flower beds destroyed, even a car that had been dented when a particularly aggressive boar charged it. Karen, however, remained unmoved. "That sounds like your asterisk problem," she said with a smug smile, sipping her overpriced iced coffee as she stood on my porch. "But HOA rules are HOA rules. If you don't comply, you'll be fined. Heavily." I clenched my jaw, suppressing the urge to tell her exactly where she could shove her clipboard. Instead, I tried a different approach. "Karen, what happens if one of those boars gets into your asterisk yard, or worse, into someone's house?" She laughed, a sharp, condescending sound. "Oh, please, we've never had a problem before, and we certainly won't now. You're just being dramatic." I wanted to scream. She had no clue what she was talking about. The only reason this neighborhood had never had a problem was because of my fence. But no matter how much logic I threw at her, she refused to listen. The next morning, I woke up to find a bright orange violation notice stapled to my fence. "Final warning. Remove unapproved structure immediately or face legal consequences." I stared at the paper, then at my fence. Karen had just made a very, very big mistake. With only a few days left before Karen's ridiculous deadline, I had no choice but to take the fence down. Begrudgingly, I spent the better part of an afternoon removing the wooden panels and wire mesh, leaving my property and the entire neighborhood completely exposed. The very next morning, I was woken up by the sound of distant shouting. Groggy, I stepped onto my porch and saw Karen standing in her yard, furiously swatting at something with her designer handbag. Then I saw them. A dozen wild boars had made their way into the neighborhood. They were happily rooting through flower beds, tearing up manicured lawns, and toppling garden decorations like it was their personal playground. One particularly massive boar had cornered Karen's precious Persian cat, which was now screeching from the top of a patio chair. Karen's face was a shade of red I had never seen before. "Somebody do something," she shrieked. I folded my arms and leaned against my porch railing, watching the chaos unfold. Her next-door neighbor, an older man named Mr. Dawson, came running out of his house in his pajamas, waving a broom. "This is exactly why we needed that damn fence," he hollered. Karen ignored him, too busy trying to chase a boar away from her freshly planted roses. I had to admit, the irony was delicious. Over the next few hours, the neighborhood descended into absolute madness. People ran up and down the street, yelling at the animals. Someone tried blasting an air horn to scare them off, but that only made the boars more aggressive. HOA-approved hedges were reduced to shredded leaves, and at least 2 garden gnomes were sacrificed in the process. And to think, all of this could have been avoided if Karen had just left my fence alone. By midday, the entire neighborhood was in shambles. Lawns were torn to pieces, trash bins knocked over, and at least 3 residents had taken refuge on top of their cars. The wild boars showed no signs of leaving anytime soon. Karen, looking absolutely *wrecked, stormed up my driveway, her pastel suit now streaked with dirt, and what I hoped was just mud. She was seething. "This is your fault," she screamed, pointing a trembling finger at me. I raised an eyebrow. "My fault. I warned you what would happen if I took the fence down." "You set this up. You let those filthy animals in on purpose," she accused, her voice high-pitched with panic. I let out a slow breath, trying not to laugh. "Karen, you do realize that my fence was the only thing keeping them out, right? I did let them in you did when you made me remove it." She opened her mouth, then closed it, clearly realizing she had no good comeback. But Karen wasn't the type to admit she was wrong. "I don't care," she snapped. "You're going to fix this mess, now. I pretended to think for a moment, rubbing my chin. "Well, I could put the fence back up, but you see, I'd need special approval from the HOA. I gave her a pointed look. "And since you're the head of the HOA, that's on you." Karen's eye twitched. She hated being backed into a corner, but she knew she had no choice. "Fine," she spat. "You can rebuild the stupid fence, but it has to be aesthetically pleasing." I grinned. "Oh, don't worry, Karen. I've got the perfect plan for that." She didn't know it yet, but I was about to get the best revenge she could imagine. The moment Karen reluctantly gave me permission to rebuild the fence, I got to work, but not before making sure my new design would meet HOA aesthetic standards in the most obnoxious way possible. I spent the next few days carefully crafting my masterpiece. Instead of the plain wooden fence I had before, I designed something that would make sure Karen and the entire neighborhood never forgot this lesson. When the work was finally done, I stepped back to admire it. My new fence wasn't just functional, it was glorious. Standing tall and proud, the new structure was a bright neon pink picket fence, complete with decorative cutouts of dancing boars along the top. Every few feet, I installed small, tasteful plaques engraved with the words. This fence was approved by Karen, HOA president. And of course, I made sure to reinforce it with the same sturdy wiring that had kept the boars out in the first place. Because, unlike Karen, I actually cared about keeping this neighborhood safe. By the time Karen saw it, it was too late to stop me. The HOA had already approved her permission for me to rebuild, and nowhere in the rule book did it say what color the fence had to be. I was sipping my coffee on the porch when I heard the inevitable shriek. "What is that asterisk?" Karen stood on the sidewalk, her mouth hanging open in horror. Her face was redder than before, her fists clenched at her sides. "It's the new fence," I said cheerfully. "You wanted it to be aesthetically pleasing, so I went all out." She looked like she might explode. You can't do this." I shrugged. "I followed every HOA rule. It's the right height, it's well-maintained, and it keeps the boars out. Oh, and you approved it." I pointed to one of the plaques. "See, your name's right there." Karen sputtered, looking around, but the rest of the neighbors, who had suffered through the boar invasion, were grinning. "I think it looks great," Mr. Dawson said, chuckling. "Really brightens up the place." "Matches your personality, Karen," another neighbor added with a smirk. Karen stormed off, muttering under her breath, but there was nothing she could do. And I just sat back and enjoyed the perfect revenge. For the next few days, Karen did everything in her power to overturn my magnificent neon pink fence. She held emergency HOA meetings, tried to rally the neighborhood against me, and even attempted to file a complaint with the city. But the problem was, she had already approved it. Every time she tried to argue against it, someone would remind her, "Well, Karen, you're the one who gave him permission." And every time she stormed past my house, she had to see her own name plastered across the fence in elegant cursive, forever tying her to my masterpiece. The best part, the neighborhood loved it. After dealing with the boar invasion, my neighbors weren't exactly thrilled with Karen's leadership anymore. Some even took the opportunity to decorate their own properties in ways that subtly mocked her ridiculous rules. Mr. Dawson put up a mailbox in the shape of a giant boar. The Johnsons repainted their front door in the exact same neon pink shade as my fence. Even sweet old Mrs. Rodriguez got in on the action. She started baking pig-shaped cookies and handing them out to everyone except Karen. It was beautiful. One morning, as I was watering my plants, Karen came stomping up my driveway one last time. "This is harassment," she hissed. "You're making a joke out of me." I smirked. "No, Karen. You did that when you ignored my warnings and made me take the fence down." She glared at me, her fists clenched, but for the first time since this whole mess started, she had no comeback. No clipboard, no rule book to hide behind. She turned on her heel and marched away, but I knew. I had *1*. Karen's humiliation was far from over. With the neighborhood turning against her and my neon pink fence standing proudly as a testament to her failure, she became the laughingstock of the entire community. It started small, side comments from neighbors, amused chuckles whenever she walked by. But then, someone in the neighborhood made a meme page dedicated to her HOA disasters. And oh, did it blow up. Someone snapped a picture of Karen standing in front of my fence, red-faced and furious, and added the caption, "HOA Karen approves the fence, hates the fence." Another photo showed the aftermath of the boar invasion, with Karen flailing her handbag at a particularly massive hog. That one was labeled, "HOA Rules versus Reality." Before long, the page had hundreds of followers. Even people from outside the neighborhood were laughing at her. And Karen? She was livid asterisk. She tried to track down whoever made the page, but nobody fessed up. Though, between you and me, I had very asterisk strong suspicion it was Mr. Dawson's tech-savvy grandson. Karen's reign over the HOA was crumbling. Residents who had once feared her now openly defied her, repainting their houses in colors she disapproved of, putting up decorations she had previously banned, and generally enjoying their lives for once. And the best part? The HOA board, finally fed up with Karen's nonsense, called an emergency meeting. A vote was held. And just like that, Karen was officially removed as HOA president. The next morning, she stormed out of her house, snatched the HOA president sign off her front lawn, and drove away in a huff. It was over. The neighborhood had won. And my beautiful neon pink fence, it remained standing, a permanent monument to Karen's downfall. With Karen dethroned, peace returned to the neighborhood. People were actually enjoying their homes again, no longer living in fear of ridiculous HOA fines or passive-aggressive violation notices. Best of all, the Boars never made a return visit. My fence stood tall and strong, keeping them exactly where they belonged, outside the neighborhood. One afternoon, as I was repainting a small scuff on my fence, because let's be honest, that neon pink had to stay vibrant, Mr. Dawson strolled over with a grin. "Hell of a thing you did, son," he chuckled. "I don't think I've ever seen Karen speechless before." I laughed, felt like justice to me. "Justice," he shook his head. "That was a work of art." I had to agree. Across the street, kids played in a yard that had once been Karen's prime target for HOA citations. The Johnsons were hosting a barbecue, their neon pink front door standing proudly in the sunlight. Even Mrs. Rodriguez had placed a small, tasteful pig statue on her front porch, a subtle nod to the chaos that had come before. And Karen. Oh, she still lived in the neighborhood, at least for now. But she kept her head down, avoiding conversations, avoiding me. The HOA board had replaced her with a much more reasonable president, one who actually listened to the community. No more arbitrary fines, no more ridiculous rules. Just a peaceful, happy neighborhood, with one very pink, very Karen-approved fence standing as a reminder of how it all went down. I leaned against my masterpiece, sipping my coffee, and smiled. Sometimes, revenge is best served with a fresh coat of paint.